Leanne Harwood, welcome to Close of Business.
Hi Stephanie, great to be here.
Leanne, we've heard today that New South Wales is effectively announcing the end of quarantine. How significant is this for the accommodation industry and tourism operators more broadly?
Stephanie, it's a game changer for us, there is no doubt. The opening up of the borders internationally is just enabling us to welcome people back into our industry that's been absolutely devastated for the last 18 months. So it is, without doubt, a welcome news.
This obviously hinges, though, on the federal government reopening the borders to international tourists, which is still up in the air. Is this something the industry has been discussing with the government?
It is. As you can imagine, Stephanie, we've been working very, very closely with both the state and the federal governments to have plans in place to open the borders back up again, both to welcome Australians back and ensure that we create a safe environment for them to return, but also how can we get international tourism back into Australia, which will be critical for the success of our industry to return back to full occupancies.
And this is a conversation that's obviously been going on for a long time now, and, you know, international flights to Australia, that's not something international airlines can just turn back on straight away, and they have warned they won't be able to make plans to ramp up their operations here without further clarity. Is this a worry for a business like Intercontinental?
It is a worry, Stephanie, and I've got a live example where I've got a staff member who's located in New Zealand, and we've been trying to get him back into Australia, and he's been sitting there this afternoon after the recent news, literally refreshing the airline sites every 3 minutes to try and get flights back. So we know it's going to be a bumpy ride for the next few weeks, probably few months actually, as we return or try to return to normal.
And once we do start getting tourists into New South Wales, Intercontinental obviously operates nationally. Do you see other states following this lead, or could we start to see a two-speed tourism recovery?
We hope we don't see a two-speed tourism recovery, and that would be the worst thing possible for our industry. What's critical for us is to have stability across both national and international borders. We really need to work together to make sure that we get the national and domestic tourism back up and running first and foremost, followed very, very closely by the international tourism. For us to be truly successful and get back to where we are, or where we were pre-COVID, we need both to keep going and firing on all cylinders.
And on the domestic front this week, we've had the end of the New South Wales lockdown. We know Victoria's restrictions should ease in the coming weeks. What have been the booking trends you've seen?
Look, you would think once the announcements came out that we would have been inundated with bookings, but the reality of it is that our industry is going to take a while to recover. People are still nervous, and I think you've seen that today with the different messaging. And so for us, the critical piece is stability. And so the booking trends to date have been a little slow, and slower than we would have liked. So we're seeing people book at the end of November, December, and certainly into next year, when they're feeling a little bit more confident about the fact that they're actually going to be able to travel.
And with the end of hotel quarantine and now not even home quarantine in New South Wales, the hotel quarantine was obviously a small lifeline for the industry through the pandemic. What's the feeling around the end of that from that perspective?
Look, we've been extremely proud of the fact that our team members in our hotels, who quite frankly are heroes, have stepped up to support the quarantine initiative, and they've done everything that they can to keep our communities safe. So quite frankly, for us now to transition from this current state of quarantine facilities in our hotels into a normal operating environment, we're delighted and excited. Our challenge is going to be is how we ensure that our hotels that have been utilised for those quarantine facilities for 18 months in some circumstances are given the opportunity to get back to the state that they were in pre-COVID. So we need to have some support for these hotels to have an investment and get them back to where they were pre-COVID.
And one element of that, of course, is the staffing. And in hospitality, we seem to be seeing a shift from not enough work to not enough workers. What are operators doing to address this?
Gosh, and there is no doubt it's the biggest crisis of talent that we've ever seen in the history of our industry. We are absolutely desperate to welcome workers back to our industry. And right now, our association is going out with full campaigns to encourage people to come and work with us. And we're looking at flexible work environments, and we're creating an atmosphere and an environment for team members to come and join our industry. And we're doing that through social media campaigns, additional training in our hotels, and we're certainly leaning in to see how we can rebuild our reputation as a fun and fantastic place to have a career.
And visa holders are obviously a significant part of the industry workforce as well. Until they start returning in significant numbers, do things like higher wages need to be considered, or, you know, more secure conditions, which are often criticisms levelled at hospitality?
There's no doubt we are challenged by not having the international visa holders in here and the students. And again, critical for us to get back to where we were from a staffing level is to get and welcome those students back into our industry. And we're looking at all ways that we can to create a safe and secure and good quality environment for our future people to come and join us. So we're reviewing every opportunity we can to welcome people back into our industry.
Leanne Harwood, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Stephanie.